Good afternoon, students. So we'll take up the topic you have got in your syllabus. The next topic you have got for the syllabus, that is reproductive and biotechnological tools for genetic improvement of livestock and poultry. Okay, the title of the topic is reproductive and biotechnological tools for genetic improvement of livestock and poultry. Okay, I think by now, after going through some of the classes I have done and the material that has been distributed for you, I think it is very clear at this point is we have got some important points that are required for genetic improvement per unit time, uh, called referred as starting from generation interval, selection intensity, and the variability. That is, you can start from like this. You can start from generation interval, first point, selection intensity, and standard deviation, phenotypic standard deviation, or in other terms we can also say standard deviation as the variation available in a population which is subjected for selection. Okay, so we have got so we have got these important tools, that is these features, that is three features. One is selection intensity, okay, phenotypic standard deviation or variation, and the generation interval. Okay, these 3 points actually affect the genetic progress made per unit time in any species of livestock as well as poultry. Okay, so when we say these three factors are very important, whatever is required to improve these three. Okay, so I have referred only three here. One is generation interval, I have told. Second point, I have told selection intensity, and the third point is standard deviation or variability. Okay, so generation interval, how to reduce the generation interval. Okay, so in order to, I think we spoke about the genetic lag also in the breeding tiers. So wherever, however, you can improve these 3 points to the maximum extent possible with available resources, better will be the genetic improvement in the next generation of individuals or per unit time. So whatever points you take care, whatever strategies you make or interventions you make to improve this, okay, these 3 points will be an added advantage towards the genetic improvement of livestock and poultry. Okay, so having said this, there is one more fourth point also that is very important. I think here and there I have told. So in order to exploit the in artificial insemination, I think I have told that point. So if we have to take the complete advantage of selection, the efforts of selection, we have to exploit or multiply the selected individuals in large number. Okay, so this is the fourth point I am mentioning. The first 3 points are generation interval, okay, selection intensity, standard deviation or variation available. Fourth point will be a point that takes care of multiplication or exploitation of the selected germplasm. Okay, so more is the exploitation of selected germplasm, more will be the advantage in the next generation. Okay, so I think we will just with this little introduction, I will just move on to the topic right away. So I think the title we have given is, so as it is an additional this one, so reproductive and biotechnological tools. Okay, so in addition to what has been done or what has been taken up in the existing breeding programs or in the strategies or in the policies framed by the government, we need to think of these special interventions, okay, special additional interventions to improve upon the production potential of the livestock and poultry. Okay, these are the additional interventions required in order to bring about rapid improvement, we can say more improvement or rapid improvement in the genetic parameters. Okay, so I think we'll just move on to the slide directly, the next slide. So by definition, this reproductive and biotechnological tools means any alterations, okay, signs of altering genetic and reproductive processes. So in existence or in nature, there will be a certain amount of genetic variation will be there, and reproductive ability will be there in all the sexually reproducing individuals. Okay, so in addition to whatever is existing, if you are able to, the definition itself says so many things here, the science of altering genetic and reproductive processes in the plants and animals. Okay, that is with respect to the title. So that is reproductive and biotechnological tools. So this is the definition. Okay, whatever method you employ to change the existing genetic and reproductive process in the plants and animals in order to bring about some more improvement is defined as the tools. Okay, tools employed for or technique employed for the alteration of the genetic parameters in the next generation of individuals. Okay, so whatever, so we can just say, so aim of the biotechnology in livestock improvement, specifically in the genetic progress, are these 4 points. Okay, one is, I think I made that point already. So again, I think it will be a repetition of the same thing over here. So I think I told genetic variation. I think I covered that just now. So increase the genetic variation. Why genetic variation should be more in the base population or population in which selection is done? So more is the variation. More is the variation. More are the chances of selecting better genotypes. Okay, more are the chances of selecting better genotypes, and they will offer scope for adoption or picking up of suitable genotypes for wider environmental variations. Okay, when we have more variation, so we can pick up in different times, the nature may pick up different genotypes for next generation of survival. So if the variation is less, there is scope for acting nature to pick up from the available variation will be less. So for that reason, so I think the definition wise also genetics says, definition of the genetics is study of variation and heredity. Okay, study of variation and heredity is the definition of genetics. So in the same context, so variation is a very important parameter, or we can say asset in the genetics or breeding activity. So naturally, so there should not be reduction in the, there should not be reduction in the variation. There should be always optimum amount of variation in the base population in order to bring about progress in the give more scope to the nature, so that suitable genotypes are selected for next generation. Okay, so in the in the same way as nature does needs variation, biotechnological tools also require variation. So variation should be kept at a optimum this one extent. Okay, so otherwise if the variation is less, it will be difficult in the future generations. For that reason, variation has to be maintained in optimum degree. Next one is this biotechnological tools. So biotechnological tools should help to increase the genetic variation first. Second one, it should try to increase the accuracy of selection. Okay, so I think I told only selection intensity there. So we have got this accuracy of selection is also very important. So accuracy of selection is so there is if you select some animals, you should be able to transfer good germplasm from the selected germplasm to the next generation, so that they also produce well next generation of individuals. Indirectly, in very simple terms, accuracy of selection means there should be whatever variation that is narrowed down in the parent generation should be made available or should be visible to the maximum extent in the next generation of individuals. Okay, that is in simple terms. So if you, that is whatever benefits that are variation accumulated among the selected category should be to the maximum extent that should be passed on to the next generation. That is the accuracy of selection. Okay, so whatever tools you employ to select individuals which can transfer the better genes to the next generation will be will be adding to will be increasing the accuracy of selection. And the third point, I think this that I already have told in the first slide, whatever interventions that reduce the generation interval. Okay, whatever tools that reduce the generation interval will improve the genetic progress. And then the fourth point is increase the selection intensity. Okay, selection intensity, increase selection intensity means here actually selection intensity is nothing but the number of animals selected, the percentage of animals selected among the tested population. Okay, so higher the selection intensity means you select less number of animals from the larger number of tested animals. That is the higher selection intensity. Okay, so higher selection intensity generally means you select less number of animals from largely tested population. Okay, so that is the intensity of selection. It is not percentage of animals selected, it is intensity of selection. Okay, intensity will be very high when you select a small number of animals on a relatively larger number of tested individuals. Okay, so that is the meaning. So whatever the tools we are telling, they should improve upon these 4 points, along with one more point already I mentioned. So they should improve upon the exploitation, they should improve the multiplication from the selected individuals. So you should produce more number of progeny from the selected individuals. That is also an aim of biotechnology or reproductive tools in the genetic improvement. Okay, we'll just move on to the next slide there. So next slide will be, so next slides, broadly we can classify these tools into two ways. Okay, so broadly the available tools can be classified into two things. One is by manipulating the gene. Okay, so this is we are telling, I think I'll at this point I'll just tell you. So an important this one called as, so when we say selection and other things, we look at the for example, we will take one simple example of let us say Holstein Friesian crossbred individuals. Okay, Holstein Friesian HF crossbred cattle are there. So when we have a group of 10 crossbred cattle, when you look at each cattle or cow for that matter, you have lot of characters. As an individual is visible there, and in the individual, if you bifurcate, we have several traits there. Okay, in terms of milk production. Okay, in terms of coat color, in terms of horn shape, in terms of we can say susceptibility to particular diseases. Each individual has got several traits. Okay, I think I explained this point here and there in the genetics also. I think you can just get that point, visualize the same concept there. So when we say an individual, it has got several characters. Okay, although each individual contains a set of genes or chromosomes. For example, HF cattle has got 30 pairs of chromosomes, and in addition to that, each animal has got several characters. Okay, several characters starting from economic characters to other simple economically not important qualitative characters also. Okay, so when we say that, we need to bifurcate each animal into different characters, and again in the character, each character is influenced by set of genes. Okay, each character is influenced by set of genes, so that we refer as genotype for that character. So in nutshell, and to make it simple again here, each individual will have a genome containing 30 pairs of chromosomes. Along with that, each individual will have different genotypes responsible for different economic characters as well as economically not important characters. Okay, I think by now it is clear. Each individual will have a set of genotype for a individual character. Okay, so whether we have identified or not, each individual will have separate genotype for separate each of the character. Okay, so if you are trying to manipulate the genes responsible for each character, that technology is a different one. That is the first category we have put here, by manipulating the genes involved or influencing a particular character. And the other method is, second method is without looking at the gene. We will not bother about what kind of genotype is influencing the particular character, without bothering about the genetic basis of the inheritance for a particular character. We will employ the biotechnological tools for the genetic improvement of the animals. Okay, so broadly is telling, so these reproductive and biotechnological tools can be classified into those which can directly manipulate the gene, and those which are not manipulating, without manipulating the genes involved in the character. Okay, in the inheritance of character. Okay, next one. So in the first category, when we say, so in the category I mentioned, first category is by manipulating the gene. So in this category, what we do actually, so in the category where if you are focusing on the genes involved in the character, so whenever we selection for example, in each of the species, one character is important. Let us say start in the poultry, that is chickens. It is in the chicken layer type chickens, it is egg production. Annual egg production is an important economic character. Okay, in the broilers, body weight at 6 weeks of body weight is an important economic character. In the same way, if you go to the breeders, that is breeders involved in the multiplying stock, there hatchability, fertility are important along with the egg production. So in this way, so we have got several traits which are important for each species. So now basically, so as all of you are aware, even if you come to the milk production example, economic, that is lactation yield, that is lactation yield is amount of milk or liters of milk produced in 305 days or 285 days in buffaloes. Okay, so this is an economic character. So as all of you are aware, to record the economic character in an live animal, it takes lot of time. So it needs lot of time, and we have to wait till the expression of that economic character. For example, in the chicken, we'll have to wait till the end of 1 year egg production. Okay, we'll have to wait for animal to, in the cattle and buffaloes, we'll have to wait for the birth and the animal to become come to estrus and give birth to young one and starts producing milk and completes one first lactation. So that takes almost 4 years or even 5 years sometimes. Okay, so here what we are trying to tell you is, this is intervention by manipulating gene. What it does is, instead of waiting for the trait to express, we'll try to identify the variation in the economic character itself. Okay, a variation in the economic character itself, that is, we have got animals producing 10 liter, 5 liter, 6 liter, like that. So we try to identify the variation at economic character level, then we will need to come down to the genes level, so that we will identify some alleles which are specifically associated, just like qualitative genes, a dominant gene associated with expression of this red color, for example, a recessive gene associated with the expression of white color. So by just studying the presence of a gene, you can tag the animal as, or classify the animal as more productive. It can produce so much of milk, it can produce so many number of eggs, it can produce so many kgs of meat. So that can be ascertained by studying the genetics, that is, gene level studies can reveal the variation required for higher production. So that is the first task of manipulating the gene. That is, in order to, if you want to improve the genetic improvement, if you seek the genetic improvement through manipulating genes, we should identify the variation at, you can just write down those two three points there. Identification of variation, when we say at the trait level, that is milk production, for example, in the animal. Then the variation at the genes level. Okay, variation at the genes level, when it is studied properly on large number of animals, will help you to identify genes associated with higher production also. Okay, so when we identify that, a main advantage is, we don't have to wait for the animal to express. All the animals need not complete their recording portion, that is 5 year, 6 year, we don't have to wait till that. If the accuracy of identifying, allotting a particular gene to particular variation in the economic character is accurate, then we can do the screening at the earlier age only. Okay, so now I think, so the first point, you can just, first point what I am trying to tell you is, you need to identify the genes involved in higher production or associated with higher production, whatever is higher production. Okay, whether it can be meat, it can be milk, or it can be eggs. So you should identify the reason for genetic, that is gene level reason for higher production. So if you have that accuracy, that research data is available, then you can select the animals before the expression of the economic character. In the conventional selection methods, we will wait for the animal to express the trait, record the animals as high producing, whatever production is there, select the animals with higher production. So you are taking only one section of the animals which are with higher production, so that can be selected directly in the conventional methods. So when we say interventions, these biotechnological interventions, what we need to do is, we need to, so although it is not as simple as I am telling you for the class, so it requires lot of research in each species. So we need to identify the genes involved in the production of variation. So we need to identify alleles or genes responsible for higher production. So when you identified genes responsible for higher production. So you can screen the animals before the expression of the trait. I think you got the point. Okay, so only a main advantage of doing all this research and circus of identification of variation at the genes level is, so we'll have to we can screen the animal or select the animals at an earlier age before the expression of that character in the conventional way. Okay, so when we do that, naturally what we do, we are reducing the generation interval. So reduction is the whenever there is a reduction is in the generation interval, naturally there will be a more progress per unit of time. There will be more progress, because before the puberty only you select the animals directly. When they become mature, if you identify good animals through the gene markers, so you will put them to breeding immediately before the expression of the trait. Okay, so that is the main advantage. And you can reduce the number of animals screened also. Okay, you can reduce the number of animals screened. So instead of selection intensity naturally becomes higher, because so you can conventional methods, you need to test large number of animals for the actual recording of the economic character. So here in the as such molecular this one methods, you can reduce the number of animals screened also. Okay, the second, this one, selection of suitable genotypes. I think that will point to these 2 points. First 2 points you can take them together. So when you identify the genes required or variations required at gene level which are contributing for variation in the economic character level, so we will get the alleles responsible for higher production. So using them as the markers, you can select the genotypes at an earlier lifetime. Okay, in the early in the lifetime they can select, you can select the suitable genotypes. So and we have got, I think we'll just mention you these points. I think those will be suitable for your this one. So one is you can, I think you have noted down that point. One is you should identify the variation at trait level, then you should identify the variation at the gene level, so that genes responsible or alleles responsible for higher production are detected for a particular population. Okay, so by doing this you can reduce the generation interval. And naturally, so then the next, this one is, I think, identification of appropriate markers. So appropriate markers can be, so this variation can be appropriate markers, or variation can be not only with the in the form of genes, it can be intermediate levels also can be tried. So I told trait is there, economic production, and then genes are there. So in between you can also study some of the proteins, in the serum, some of the proteins in the milk. Okay, some of the proteins in the any other fluid material of the body can be studied, so that if they have any association, for example globulin level or serum protein level, any SGOT, like that, some enzymes are also there. So you can study the enzymes. So if the enzyme study is very easier compared to the study of the economic character as such, study of the enzymes and proteins on their levels is nowadays easier, and it will be done, it can be done at very earlier age also. And if you associate the, just like the association of suitable alleles with the higher production, these proteins or enzymes can also be ascertained or tagged to higher production or lower production levels. Okay, I think you should note down this carefully. I will not be able to tell everything that is involved in the process. So what we are trying to tell you is, so we have got, one is gene level markers are there, another is in between we have got enzymes or protein level markers are there. So these 3 kinds of markers can be utilized to reduce the age at which the animals are screened or selected. Okay, so these are the interventions. So mainly what these do is, they will reduce the cost of rearing large number of animals. Okay, they will also help you to reduce the generation interval. In the same way, so we have got what is called as, I think for the explaining the 4th point we have written here, that is I have written quantitative trait loci detection. Okay, so you just read that point again, quantitative trait loci detection. As the name says, quantitative trait loci, quantitative trait, qualitative traits we already explained. Okay, so qualitative means they usually less, they are monogenic, they are influenced by less number of genes. Quantitative or polygenic in nature, they are influenced by more number of genes. and most of the economic characters are quantitative in nature. So in order to come to the levels I explained just now in this slide, okay, that is to identify the genes associated with higher or lower production, we need to earmark the or identify among the polygenes. For example, I will make it very simple. For milk production, let us say there are 20 loci are involved in the milk production. Okay, there are 20 loci in cattle influence milk production. Okay, among the 20 loci, there will be again each loci will have many alleles. Okay, it can have 3 or 4 or 5 alleles. Okay, even more than that, we can have more alleles also for each loci. So if we even say 20, each loci has got 4 alleles into 20, it will be 80 alleles are possible for milk production itself. I am giving you just an example, very simple example I am giving. In the as such in the research or in the as such in the animals level, it is even higher because we are not traced how many loci are involved. Okay, this quantitative trait loci, I am just explaining you what is quantitative trait loci. So we have got 20 loci, each loci has got 4 alleles. Okay, so around 80 alleles are possible for the 20 loci. So if you screen the whole population of cattle, a particular population of cattle containing 1000 cattle are there, if you screen all the 1000 animals, you will get an idea of their production levels. Their production levels are monitored. Along with them, we have got this data belonging to 80 alleles. So if you study the 80 alleles in the 1000 cattle, okay, you will identify some of the loci which have got more influence or associated with higher production. If you just, if I will just say, if you just take the correlation study, simple correlation study, you will come to know which loci are associated with higher production in very simple terms. So we can, those loci or alleles which are influenced with higher production can be defined as markers or gene markers. Okay, so the loci which has got more influence, for example, a particular loci is influenced, locus is influencing to the 20% extent. So it will be defined as major loci or a candidate gene or a quantitative trait loci. Okay, so it will be identified as quantitative trait loci. So once you identify, and simple, this one is why we have to do all this research is in order to improve the accuracy of selecting the quantitative traits, because most of them are economic in nature. We can reduce the duration required for selection. So naturally, in order to reduce the generation interval and even to improve the accuracy of selection, we need the help of these quantitative trait loci. So now quantitative trait loci is nothing but an major locus in influencing a economic character. Relatively, this locus has got more influence than the other loci influencing the quantitative character. Okay, so that can be defined as a quantitative trait locus. Okay, so now through the biotechnological interventions, by studying larger number of population and the gene level data in large number of loci, we can identify a QTL. It is abbreviated as QTL. So then if you have the QTL idea for a particular population, the accuracy of selection goes up and also generation interval can be reduced. Naturally, when the generation interval is reduced, naturally there will be more improvement. So in the same way, there is one more, this one called as in the MAS, marker assisted selection, is also a name, marker assisted selection. So I think in the just now in this slide only I explained you these proteins and enzymes, as the proteins and enzymes can also be used as markers along with the genes or alleles. Proteins and enzymes can also be utilized as markers. So you can use either of these three. Okay, one is genes or alleles, second one proteins or enzymes can be utilized as markers for selection of the individuals or genotypes at an earlier lifetime. Okay, so if you do this, I think all these 4 or 5 will come under the interventions required by manipulating gene. Okay, I think that is sufficient for your syllabus. I think you can just take the brief note of all these things I have told and make a short summary. That would be useful. Okay, I think at this point I can say it is a very elaborate subject. I will just for your UG syllabus. So whatever point I have told, that will be useful for your this one studies. Okay, and in the same way there is also what is called as genome wide selection also. I think these are different names that have been given, genome wide selection. So there wherein we can assess the, I think you might have come across a point, a tailor made treatment for each genotype, like that now concepts are coming. So wherein instead of treating all the whole just like any other commonly, for example, fever is there, for fever antipyretics are given, you can cure the cure the disease. So instead of that, you should study the genome of the individual, so that you will get the what genetic basis of the disease can be understood. So and then suitably treatment can be initiated. So such studies are also there. I think they are very elaborate and they require larger study. Lot of study is required for such kinds of this one. You can just add in there, genome wide selection is also one of the biotechnological intervention that can be taken up for the improvement of the animals. Okay, livestock and poultry. Okay, I think we have got the in the reproductive section. In the reproductive section, biotechnology, that is the, I think you can just go to the first slide I told. The now the second option is without manipulation of the gene. Okay, without manipulation of genes. Okay, so I think all the points just now I told, these will be as an additional intervention required. Additional intervention required for normal selection and breeding of the individuals. Okay, normal selection means you animals are there, good number of animals are there, measure the character, pedigree records are kept. Okay, identify the animals, select the animals which are giving more milk or more egg or more meat. Okay, and allow them to reproduce in the natural service method. Okay, they will select only allow breeding of selected individuals in the natural service method. This will comprise the conventional method. So when we say intervention, we want to speeden up the progress. Okay, we want to speed up the progress. For that reason, we need the special technologies. That is the first thing I told, with manipulation of the gene. Second, with manipulation of the genes. Okay, and second one is the without manipulation of the genes. So actually in this, actually we'll get the reproductive techniques. Okay, reproductive techniques. I think these 2 points I told you already, artificial insemination and multiple ovulation and embryo transfer technology. Okay, so these are the techniques that can be employed to speeden up the genetic progress. I think in the livestock breeding programs I gave a lot of points there with respect to artificial insemination, why it is important. I think I have told that. So first point I told, as an intervention compared to natural service, especially in the dairy cattle, artificial insemination has the advantage of higher selection intensity. Okay, you can select only few number of males are required. So naturally we can go up to higher selection intensity in the artificial insemination. Okay, in the bulls selected for artificial insemination, you can opt for higher selection intensity. Okay, so I think that emphasis result is, and the coverage is also more. You can cover large number of females. Good germplasm can be utilized on larger number of females. So that is the main advantage compared to natural service. It can cover more number of breedable females in short period of time. Reach is more, number is also reach naturally, number is more, and it has got advantage of being utilized even in the absence of male. Physically male is absent, so still in spite of that, superior males can be utilized. And we can explore the option of utilizing the spermata semen in the future times also. If you store it, keep in cold storage or freeze storage, that is in the cryopreservation, if you keep the semen, it can be utilized after a long period of time also, after decades also it can be utilized. So these are the advantages of artificial insemination. But unfortunately the coverage of artificial insemination is very less in unorganized breedings, especially cattle and buffalo. Nowadays I think it is 30% only. So there are different hurdles for why it is not employed artificial insemination like that, but it is an intervention that is very useful, and it is well adapted in the dairy cattle, especially it is well adapted in dairy cattle. So it can take up any initiation that will improve the artificial insemination coverage. Okay, so whatever is required, either in the form of extension, creating awareness among the farmers, or improving the physical infrastructure required for AI coverage, all this can be taken up there. But with the genetic point of view, one is the selection intensity will be very high in the artificial insemination. Second one is there will be very good exploitation of the selected germplasm. Okay, so second point is multiple evolution and embryo transfer technique. It is again by technology. So compared to AI, it is a less adapted technique, but the advantage is here in the MOET is so important. I'll just elaborate about the technique just in the next slide. So important in the genetic terms, the advantage is you will produce more number of progeny in the MOET compared to conventional breeding or reproduction methods per female. Okay, so in the AI, actually it is a male component that is exploited. In the MOET, it is the female component that is more exploited. So you'll be able to produce more number of progeny per dam. Okay, so in that way, so you can, in the same way, you can also same thing here, you can increase the selection intensity among the females, and you can also produce so more number of progeny per selected female or superior female. Okay, so then we have got other techniques, advanced technique called as oocyte harvesting. Okay, so and in vitro oocyte maturation, in vitro fertilization. Okay, so these things are nothing but, so you will reduce the time gap. Okay, will reduce, so directly all this will help you in improving the number of progeny produced per female, selected female. Okay, so once you do the selection, instead of breeding them conventionally, you can employ these techniques like oocyte harvesting. So you know that in cattle and buffalo, in any other livestock, in sheep and goat also, conventionally the reproductive fitness is little lower compared to this chicken and swine. Their reproductive potential is lesser. So in order to improve the reproductive potential, especially in cattle and buffaloes and sheep and goat, you can try these methods. That is, oocyte harvesting can be done in order to increase the number of progeny produced per selected individual. Okay, so all this in order to produce more number of progeny per selected individual. So this can reduce the exploitation, this can improve the exploitation of selected germplasm. Then the other techniques are nuclear transfer and embryo cloning. So these are again the same, this one. So we will just elaborate on one of these points in the next slide. And then we have got the sex selection. Now I think that has also come into the picture. You might have even seen, some of you, if we are very alert, there are people in BAIF or even the department also, Department of Animal Husbandry in Karnataka only, they are supplying the sexed semen. Sexed semen is being supplied to artificial insemination centers, wherein dairy cattle, I think in one of the classes I elaborated this point, that is in dairy cattle, that is especially crossbred cattle, the male birth of male calf is not useful. It is not a welcome this one process. So for that reason, so people, because most of them, they are dependent on the artificial insemination, male calves will be of no use or little use when they mature. So it adds to the cost of production. So for that reason, so instead of wasting the half of this fertilization process or biological process, they are supplying only the semen containing X sex chromosomes. Okay, so I think when we know that only X sex semen is available containing, basically sex chromosomes in dairy cattle is X and Y are the sex chromosomes. If you employ the X containing spermatozoa, only the spermatozoa are available in the semen straws, then naturally most of the time the birth will be female calf only. So it is almost 99% accuracy is there in that. That is, they will screen out all the Y bearing spermatozoa are taken out at the semen processing centers. Okay, so that will be taken out. So only X containing, that is X sex chromosome containing spermatozoa are supplied in the cold chain, that is cryopreserved chain, and that will be made available at the farmer's doorstep. Whenever a crossbred female comes to it, only the sex semen is, when it is inseminated, there are 90 to 95% chances that only females are born as the young ones to the dairy cattle. Okay, this advantage is an important one that is being tried, but acceptance is, cost of production is very high. I think it is 400 rupees per straw compared to a conventional straw of 15 rupees. Straw of sexed semen is for 400 to 500 rupees. Okay, and that cost, but it is an advantageous technique, because male calf will be of noise instead of, for example, in the lifetime of a crossbred cattle, if it produces around 5 or 6 cows, instead of 3 male cows and 3 female cows, if you get all the female cows, it is a very good advantage. Even at the cost of successful, if you use even 2 semen straws are required for successful conception, the cost will be something like 3000 rupees more. Okay, 3000, or even you can say 6000 rupees more for additional 3 cows. So then in that point also it is an advantage, cost effective. So you can think of that technology also, it is available. The technology is just like any AI technique, this sexed semen technique is also available in the, for the farmers. Okay, this moit and others, they are available in only selected farms, they are available. I will just take up the moit. I can just elaborate with the genetic point. Okay, with genetic points, moit advantages, you have the selected animals. You can just see here, selected animals will be there, and there will be recipients will be there. Okay, so recipients are usually genetically inferior animals, so donors are elite animals. So you select the, you inseminate the elite cows with elite spermatozoa, and there will be conception, and on 5th day the embryo, that is zygotes, will be isolated from the, before getting implanted to the uterus, they will be isolated, and you can see the process there. All the process is visible there. I think we have got some 6 pictures are there, they will explain you. First one is from the left corner, a donor is selected, inseminated. Okay, on 5th day there will be collection of zygotes, and they will be observed in the, tested or monitored in, subjected to evaluation in the lab, and they will be cryopreserved for some 1 to 2 hours or 3 hours in the laboratory conditions, in the similar conditions. Okay, in the not cryopreserved, in the body temperature, ambient temperature, they will be stored for some time. Okay, and you can also store them for cryopreservation, just like spermatozoa. Even embryos can be cryopreserved also. Okay, if there are suitable recipients are not available at the same time. So you can just look at the advantage of this moit as a genetic technique. Okay, so you can not only utilize spermatozoa, preserve spermatozoa of elite bulls for longer time. Embryos can also be cryopreserved, and they can be utilized whenever they are required on the inferior recipients. Okay, this is the biggest advantage of moit. Okay, and biggest genetic advantage of the moit. So that can be thought of for implementation of faster genetic progress. Okay, I think we will just see. So what is cloning here also, in one or few slides I will just show you what is cloning also. So cloning, as any other, I think in the first slide we just saw it, this one, this 6th point you can just observe there, nuclear transfer or embryo cloning, a term, nuclear transfer or embryo cloning is also there. So nuclear transfer is basically is nothing but same thing. So nucleus cloning, the main difference is any cell of the body. I think all of you are, by being science student and now veterinary students, you are aware of the fact that each animal contains this, basically whatever is specified for a species is available in all the cells of a particular individual. Okay, if you have, for just for example, it has got some trillion cells are there in a adult individual. Each of these trillion cells has got the nuclear material required for the successful development of that individual. So each cell has got the genetic material required for, the potential is there in each cell in the form of chromosomes. It is there in each of the cells. So now to exploit that available, this one, I think in one of the slides I explained advantage of this cloning is, clone is nothing but by definition clone, replica, exact replica of the same individual. For example, if Sachin Tendulkar is there, you can produce clone of Sachin Tendulkar also, any individual for that matter. Theoretically the basis is you can exactly replicate an individual by artificial intervention. Okay, so in the sheep that has been tried in the form of, I think you might have heard of the word Dolly also. In India also they have tried and they are successful. They have successfully produced clones of dairy calf. Even the buffalo calf is also produced by cloning method. So what is done in cloning is genetic material from an adult individual, from a somatic cell, to make it specific. From the somatic cell you take out the genetic material and you put it into the an egg from which its nuclear material is removed. It is being shown in the picture here. So in the left hand top side we have got a sheep. From there genetic material is isolated. Okay, and another egg, unfertilized egg, is taken. From that nuclear material, its nuclear material is removed in the form of red dot there, and an empty egg container with no nucleus is fused with the genetic material of the adult cell, adult somatic cell, and that will be initiated or given impetus to develop into embryo in the laboratory. So it will when it is reaching the stage of blastula before becoming morula, it will be again harvested, collected from the laboratory, and deposited into the uterus of recipients. Okay, so basically job of the recipient is just like the surrogate mother concept that was there in humans also. So the recipient female will act only as the mothering condition, only mothering, that is uterus will be provided and it will give birth to the young one. So, but genetically that animal is, that embryo is a different genetic material altogether. It does not have any connection with the genetic material of the recipient. Okay, so after giving birth, after lambing, so the animal, the lamb born is a clone of the adult one that is there in the left top corner. Okay, it is a clone of the animal that is there in the left top corner. So in this way cloning can also be initiated. So cloning is, although it is in India, it is in very this one, there are very lot of ethical problems with respect to implementation of cloning, and even any other study that is involves the manipulation of nature's gift, that is germplasm. If you lot of manipulations are there, it may result into many problems also in the future which cannot be tackled. For that there is a lot of this one limitations with the employment of this cloning technique. So lot of permission has to be taken up, and there should be lot of facility to screen the genetic material, and there should also be no leaking of genetic material to other viruses and other things. So lot of guidelines have to be followed there. So but this is one of the technique available as an intervention. Advantage of this cloning is, coming back to the points we have mentioned, we can create the, if there is a very highly successful individual or production potential animal is there, you can right away produce the clones. That in theoretically it is an easier step. You can, high producing animal can be replicated to, just like Xerox, okay, or photocopying, we can produce large number of animals. So you can take up that. So these are all some, but leaving that research side, advanced side, these first 2 and 3 are in the implementation level, that is artificial insemination, MOET, and in vitro fertilization are all being used. There is no problem in that, they are using. Among these again artificial insemination is highly utilized. It is most exploited intervention. Okay, I think with that I will just end up my class. That would be sufficient for your class on reproductive and biotechnological tools for the genetic improvement of animals. Okay, I think I will take up one more class regarding genetic resistance, and will close the. I think how many of you are looking at the contents? I have doubt. I can just take up the, because I am uploading most of them through YouTube also. I can just see how many people have logged in. Okay, it's left to you again. So we have to prepare for the exams by looking at the contents we have